everyone, it is Shannon and I am here today to talk about Resident Evil Apocalypse, the second film in the Resident Evil franchise, at least the live actions, the films, the second film in the live action set of films, which is my series in focus for 31 Days of Horror this year. And this one was a first time watch for me. I wasn't sure if I had seen it before, but once I started watching, I was like, oh no, I haven't seen this. I had not seen this. So let's look at the details before we get into the film proper. The director for this was Alexander Witt. This one was written by Paul W.S. Anderson, who did write and direct the first film, but this one he wrote, and it was directed by someone else. The cast includes Milla Jovovich, again, of course, Sienna Guillory, Oded Fehr, who I did not realize was in this. I really like him. As well as Mike Epps, whom I really like. And then there were a bunch of guys in it that I know from lots of other things, included Jared Harris, he was on Fringe. Ian Glenn, of course, is from Game of Thrones, and he's also on Jack Taylor. He's a lead in Jack Taylor. And Thomas Kretschmann, I'm not sure, I know I'm not pronouncing that right. Kretschmann, not sure. I recognize from so many things, so many things, many films and TV series, and he's in I think he is in an upcoming Penny Dreadful series, which I hadn't heard about, which is one of the reasons why it's good to click through things on IMDb. He often plays the German character, and in this one he was sort of like more like the evil corporate dude. Yeah, but I'm not sure what the first thing I ever saw him in was, but when I looked at his page, I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen lots of things that he's in. All three of those guys, lots of things that they're in. This film came out in 2004, which I need to keep in mind when I talk about it. It is of the genres of horror, action, and zombie. There's lots of action and mayhem in this one. But unfortunately, I only gave this one a 6 out of 10 or a 2 out of 5, and there's no way this movie is getting a heart from me. I did not enjoy it. I did not enjoy it. It was pretty painful to sit through. I did like some things about it, but generally, oh boy, I was having trouble watching this one. I was distracted. I just didn't find it was very engaging. It felt a bit like a TV series, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but just like sort of how it reprised what happened in the first film. So there will be spoilers for the first Resident Evil, and there'll probably be spoilers in this one because I don't, because there will be. There doesn't need to be a reason. There just will be. But yeah, so it reprised what happened in the first one, which often feels like TV now, and even just some of the titles felt like TV, and just the look and feel of it felt like TV. But I have to remember that this was 15 years ago now, and it's weird because Resident Evil 1 looked so much better than this film did, just visually, in terms of just like the dynamics of like what you were watching looked so much better. And I don't know if that was because it was a contained environment, where this is sort of like a more, generally it's more open world, it's more like at night and on the streets and stuff like that. So it just, and there were so many different storylines, whereas the other one had like sort of like 8 characters, and this one had like 4 or 5 different plot lines. Mila's not even in it for quite some time other than the recap. We're following these other people and several different other people throughout the city, and like, yeah, so like it's just really weird. So it's set in Raccoon City, which is Toronto, which is where I'm from. So for me, part of the joy of this film was actually just pointing out and noticing all the different Toronto bits. To be honest, that ended up being sort of like the game I played with myself to be engaged in this movie, which is like, whatever. It's like, pizza, the CN Tower. CN Tower is actually pretty early, which is how I knew for sure it was Toronto. I had suspected, and then I saw the CN Tower, and then I saw City Hall, and I'm like, yeah. Like, and City Hall, they actually had it as City Hall, which was kind of cool. I think it's hilarious. Our City Hall is continually felt as futuristic, so it ends up being sort of like used as a backdrop for futuristic places. Minority Report, the TV series, had it, and it's in just lots of stuff. Anyway, so yeah, the Toronto signing was definitely a plus, but the plot was like, I was like, you know, like there's an outbreak, and that which happens in the first one too. There's an outbreak. One of the scientists involved in the whole study of the virus, his daughter is in the city, and he wants to get her, but the corporation, the evil corporate dude, doesn't want to help him. So we have that plot line going on. We have some, I thought they were Umbrella Corporation, but they were sort of, I don't know who they were. Sienna Guillory's character, and she was like this, you know, kick butt, you know, take people down, like enforcement type thing person. And but I think she worked for Umbrella, but she didn't make it to the stage before they decided, okay, we're quarantining the city. So she was in the mayhem, and then Oded Fehr and a bunch of other guys were military dudes who were like some other group, but like separate than her, or maybe she was, you know, it felt like she was, because she was in like a strapless like corset top, not even corset top, like it wasn't a corset, but like a strapless top and a skirt and gun-toting. Like, it's because that's the most practical thing to wear when you're like security. So there was that. There was gender crap in this one that I was really not happy with. There was like gratuitous nudity, zombie, even, and I'm just like, seriously. So it had lots of marks against it. So yeah, we have also the military dudes, and then Milla finally shows up and finally saves the movie, because my goodness gracious, I was like going stir crazy because I was distracted. I was looking on my phone, which I've really been not really doing through the 31 Days of Horror movies. So that was not a good sign. And then we start to have some mayhem, some kick buttness, and that was good. But like I was like, I am not following all of these different storylines. I actually don't care that much, because they don't seem to make, like, there was a correlation of like finding the scientist's daughter, that made sense, and then there were like all of the semi-military dudes, because there were like the ones that Oded Fehr was with, and then like random ones that were like in the city that were like you know, killing off zombies and having fun with that, you know. And then there was like a whole bunch of different kinds of zombie creature things. Like there was like the regular, just like this one, in a lot of ways it felt like a regular zombie movie. Like there was lots of mob scenes, like mob slow moving zombies. There was that kind of thing. And then there were these like lizard things. I have no clue where those came from, if they're anything to do with the zombies. Like, what? I have no idea what their deal is, what their backstory is, if you will. Like, I was like, I don't really understand that. And then there was one huge creature, which had a backstory, and that I actually liked, and it was over the top, and I think that's why I liked it. It was just the whole plot line with this really big, like, Terminator type creature zombie thing. It was ridiculous, but at least it had a story, and it was a story I was following, and it was a story I cared about. I actually cared about, and it was funny because it was so over the top. So that part I liked. Milla I liked. A lot of the other side stories sort of ended up coming together, and I don't know, like, I haven't actually played the games. That's not true. I tried one of the demos, but it was first person, and I'm not very good at first person. So I don't know if this follows stories or characters from the games, and if you had that context, you'd be like, oh, that's this person, and oh yeah, I understand this group or that group or these people who work together and don't work together. Like, I was not getting any of that. And they did retell the story from the first film, actually twice, not only at the beginning but later in the movie they talked about it. And it's really weird, because I kind of felt like where we ended up being sort of like the exact same place that we ended up. Not exactly, but like pretty similar to where we ended up at the beginning, like at the end of the last movie. So that was a little weird. Not totally. It kind of twisted at one point, but eventually, like, it looked like it was just going to end the exact same way, which, you know, in like for horror movies, that's not, you know, shouldn't be unexpected, to be honest. In sequels, like, the arcs of the stories can be the same within a series, but it's how you get there, how like, if there's new characters, if there's new twists and turns and those kinds of things. So this was definitely low on the list. I would actually find it hard to imagine another movie like I imagine this will be my least favorite of the series, is in particular for the gender crap, the gratuitous nudity. Even though it wasn't like continual, I just was like, no, just no, we just didn't need that. That was just totally gratuitous and not going there. There was some of it in the first film, but at least it was contextual. This was just like unnecessary. And I did, but I did enjoy the Toronto setting, but that's specific to me being a Torontonian. I thought the stories were all over the place. I did enjoy seeing Ian Glenn's character. I did enjoy Jared Harris. I haven't seen him in anything for a while, and Milla was great in this. Like, she was really great. But like in terms of the action, but overall, I thought the acting was like a little painful a lot of the time. Yeah, so it's not getting a huge win from me. 2 out of 5 is a very low rating for me on Letterboxd. I very rarely go that far, because generally if a movie is going that badly, I stop watching it. So and if I wasn't watching this for what for 31 Days of Horror and what not being a completist that I am, if this was a standalone movie, I probably would have stopped watching it. So anyway, I think things are going to go up from here. I'm not sure. I have seen the third film before. I actually reviewed it back when it was released when I was doing my film website. So I have reviewed it. I'm going to hold off on reading that review until after I watch it. I think the next one is Extinction. And I'm curious as where things are going to go. There is development in Milla's character, and that is interesting. And I think no, watching this one will make the next one make more sense. And it was cool to see the scientist's daughter character, because if I understand correctly, she is who the Red Queen is modeled after. And she had an interesting story. Add to the big monster Terminator one. It was just like, to have all of that would have been enough of a story, never mind needing the mobs of zombies, like, because it really just was slow moving zombie mob just picking things off, like, and everyone picking them off or them picking other people off, like that kind of very standard zombie stuff. And then the lizard creatures, if anyone can explain the lizard creatures, like, I do not understand them, and I don't think it was explained. Like, were they unleashed by the Umbrella Corporation? Was the evil corporation dude, was he from the Umbrella Corporation? Like, I don't even know. So, but Toronto sightings, awesome. You know, whether or not it was Pizza or the CN Tower or the City Hall being City Hall of the future. That'll never get old. That'll never get old. And I do always ask the question, although sometimes I forgot to ask the question, is whether or not this was scary. And I would say no. I didn't find this one scary, although I did find that there was a lot of menace and mayhem, especially with the huge Terminator dude. And some of the action was really gory and really and some of the action scenes were very exciting. So that it does get a pro, but it doesn't go to the land of scary. But I don't necessarily think that's what this one's achieving. And the first one, I don't know if I found it scary. I know I reacted a lot to a lot of the effects, but I really enjoyed the first one, like, so much better than this, like, so much better. I had no idea that would happen, that this would happen, that apocalypse would be apocalyptic. So Toronto is the home of the apocalypse. No, it's not. It's not. Anyway, so the next one will be, I think, Extinction, but it's definitely not the last one. And those are my thoughts on Resident Evil Apocalypse. Let me know, have you watched it? Did you enjoy it? Or are you like me, a little sort of disappointed? I was disappointed. But I'm glad that I eventually seen it, because I am a completist and there were at least some things. But yeah. Hopefully the next one will have more in the pro column than the con column. We shall see. Thank you so much for watching.